I had to tell a lady at the job. I mean, the damage was done. She's too late. She was pregnant, but she was baby mama number 5. And I said to her, you are not his priority. And I said to her, he got all of those other children. That was not your man. That man belonged to 3 other women. I mean, that man belonged to 4 other women. You baby number 5. That man belongs to 4 other women. How does he share his resource? He's responsible for 4 other homes. How is he able to take care of you and yours, and he's responsible for 4 other homes? I said, if 2 or 3 of his children get sick at the same time and all need to be hospitalized, who does he go to first? She said, mine. Why do you think that? Because I'm with him. What? I said, you are no different than the other women. You're just a baby mama. You're not his wife. Now, if you were married to this man, I would tell you that his obligation is to his family. And then I said, and you can demand that because fuck them other kids because you're his wife and the wife comes first. But you're not his wife. You're just baby mama number 5. And I say, and you are gleefully happy that you are sharing a man with 4 other women, pretending like you got that man to yourself. You do not have that man to yourself. You share him with 4 other women. You share his resources. You share his time. You share his provision. You share everything with them. You share the ding-a-ling with them other women. And our women walk around here talking about what they're not going to settle for. You women are women. You settle to be baby mama number 5. But a black man who's a caseworker for the Urban League making $47,000 a year, that's settling. And he has no children. But he owns a 3-bedroom condo that he can put you in with a kid. But that's settling. And then when these guys grow, because there are no fathers in all of these homes, what these men grow up and they turn out like Kirk Franklin. Now, from the outside, Kirk Franklin looks to be this ultra successful, walking, talking Black history fact for us. But as we soon found out, actually, before we get into that, let me do something real quick. I just dropped the link in the chat. The doors of the church is open. Come by letter, Christian experience, or candidate for baptism. Somebody come on up and have a short conversation with me before we get into Kirk Franklin. Am I off base? Somebody come up here and tell me if I'm off base or not. Or if you agree, come up and tell me you agree. This is insane. Our women want to be treated like they have virtue. Our men treat our mothers and our women, and we approach y'all like you have virtue, like you're virtuous. A lot of men cannot plug those holes in their manhood until we do the one thing that we need to do. To do the one thing that we need to do as men. We need to acknowledge that the decisions our moms made screwed up most of us. And most of us need to come to terms with the fact that our mothers are basically hoes. And that's a hard reality for a lot of brothers to come to terms with. Let me put it to you this way, guys. Let me put it to you this way. And I know a lot of us don't like to get compared to other cultures, but damn it, I mean, that's just kind of, I mean, we got to compare, we have to have a starting point. Most other ethnic groups plan their children. They're planned for. Most other children in most other cultures, most other ethnic groups, the children are planned for. It's a predetermined plan. With 80% of us being born to single mother homes, into most of us who have siblings, and most of our siblings got their own daddy, guys, we were all born out of a fuck. Our mothers were the jump off. We literally sit around and be like, well, my brother's daddy, well, my sister's daddy, my youngest brother's daddy, my middle brother's daddy. This woman, and it's hard to say that because we're thinking about our mom. We view our moms to a degree as almost saintly figures. But our moms have 3 and 4 families. Each child represents a family. 3, 4, 5 men have made families with one woman. Some of us come from mothers who are perpetual jump offs. Some of our young men today that are under 30 grew up with multiple fathers. My middle sibling, their father, involved, active, got resources, fight for them, get to see them, and we got to watch our middle sibling get fresh clothes, get their haircut regularly, get to leave on a regular basis, you know, get to go on trips and vacations, while we get to sit around here with ashy elbows because our daddies don't do nothing. And guess what that happened? Guess what that, and that caused resentment between the siblings. You got 4 siblings in the house, 3 different baby daddies. Only one of the kids' fathers is an active fighting father for that child. Their child doesn't go without, including the time. And the other siblings start feeling some type of way about their younger sibling or their middle sibling, all because that father gave a damn about them. Now there is bad blood between these damn siblings because mama ain't nothing but a jump off. Somebody come up here and tell me I'm wrong. Somebody come up here and tell me I'm wrong. What y'all scared of? You ain't got, if I know you, you know, in the chat, you ain't got a cam up. Just limit your voice. If you're a regular. How many of you witnessed that or experienced that? How many of you have seen it where there's 5 children, and I keep moving the numbers. There's 5 children in the house, but one active father. That active father child gets complete access, time, resources. That child gets to go, he gets, let's say if it's a male child, he gets karate lessons and he gets, you know, bicycles and trips and fresh gear and all of it, family time. And then the other siblings sitting around looking at it. Let me tell you something about kids. A lot of times kids, they know that that's that younger sibling's parent, but they don't separate themselves from their sibling. And you create all of this resentment. And if you are a conscious brother, then you're struggling with these other 2 or 3 siblings don't have an active father like me. Should I do something for them? Because I don't want them looking back. Oh, Lord, let's not talk about what happens around birthdays and Christmases. Good Lord. And some of these children are boy children that are watching maybe their sisters with active fathers. Do you understand the resentment that's coming out? And these I just had a flash about my own siblings. I have, with my mom, I'm the only sibling that my mother and father have in common. Then outside of me, I have 2 sets of siblings. My mother ended up marrying a man, and then the remaining 5 of my siblings were all by him. When I was younger, my mother was very irresponsible. So was the husband, but I was removed from the home and placed with my grandmother. And so my life became very different than my siblings. This stream just reminded me of how resentful my siblings got towards me. They were left in an environment where they didn't get what I got. And then they grew up in that environment. I did not. And then I left and went on to college eventually. My siblings, especially my brothers, throughout our 20s or 30s, would just pick fights with me. I would come around and they would just be angry, and it took years for me to, I'm like, why these? And then it came out one day, one of my brothers just kind of shouted out, you come around here and you bark orders, or you come around here and you try to play big bro, but you don't understand, you left us. You left us. As if, one, when I was a child and got removed out of the home, that I had any control of that. But yeah, I had a control over going to college. I could not stick around, and I had to go take care of me. They talk now sometimes about, you know, how their lives turned out versus how mine's turned out. And there's still some underlying resentment. Oh, grandma, you grandma favorite, and she took you did. And our ladies are out here making decisions, doing things, having children, being content with being the jump off, instead of creating families, creating babies out of a fuck, having multiple men in the home, possibly one or two active fathers with 2 or 3 not, and creating resentment amongst siblings. And these are not even, I don't have any full siblings. I have 2 sets of half siblings. But you know, we Black, we don't do half siblings. They're your sisters and brothers. We don't do that crap. But I'm just saying, technically, I have 2 sets of half siblings because I have none in common. This kind of behavior in the selection process, ladies, you may not like that this is your responsibility, but it's your responsibility. You complain about what you get blamed for, what you're to blame for. You are being blamed for what you are responsible for, and you've chosen this. And this came out glaringly during the Kurt Franklin saga. And this is what we're going to get to now, okay? Hold on.
I've been homeless. I bathed in a church bathroom. Won 19 Grammys. Had a career that was beyond my imagination. I've survived death several times, endured public shame. But nothing could prepare me for what God had in store for me in 2023. I was born Kirk Smith. I was raised in a neighborhood called Riverside in Fort Worth. Low-income community, you know, pimps, prostitutes, clubs on the corner, liquor store right around the corner from the house. I would go to church every Sunday with the woman that adopted me, Gertrude.
Now, how many of us, if we write a book, that those first opening words about where he grew up at, how many of us can just copy and paste that into our story?
She adopted me when I was 4, and she was 64. She didn't have any children, but she was a distant relative. There was never a time that I don't remember not knowing I was adopted. It was always a part of the framework of who I was. I don't remember having birthday parties when I grew up. I don't remember cakes and candles and gifts. I wasn't raised with siblings. I wasn't raised with cousins. I wasn't raised with relatives. I lived by myself. I was raised alone. It was horrible. I would see my biological mother, Deborah, maybe once or twice a year. When mostly non-African American kids get adopted, they are going through a system. They don't really know their mother or father for the most part. And so even though they know that they were abandoned and given up for adoption, at least they have a womb that at least gets a scar. But when you come from these marginalized communities and you see your biological parents
he used the word abandon. I'm gonna bring up Kofa real quick. What's up, my
Hey,
man?
what's going on, bro? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you real good.
Okay, cool. I had to get close to my computer. I don't got my equipment out here. I was out here with my cigar, man. I was just hopping on real quick, bro. I wasn't hopping on because you're lying, but you telling the absolute truth. You know, we spoke about this a little bit the other night, but I did want to give you the heads up about that Kurt video. They pulled my video, and then they pulled Dr. Tia songs right when he was in the middle of the live, because this is an actual documentary. I
Yeah.
think the whole thing is out on YouTube. I just wanted to put that.
Yeah, I know sometimes if you don't play, if you don't, you can. I heard you can play the audio, most of the audio. You got to be careful how much of the video you play.
Yeah,
So,
when you're playing it together, it's weird, man. It can get weird a little bit. So I played like some clips of Afro Samurai. I was doing like a comparison of how he went through his story and how black men sometimes walk alone. But I played the clip, and the audio was a voiceover of a reaction video, and they still hit me with a copyright claim. So it can get tricky sometimes. What I normally do is use like a still picture of, like, this one, for instance, Kurt Frank, like that still frame you got behind you.
yeah.
I'll put that over and then just let the audio run. I know it doesn't give like a full interactive experience as seeing the video and the audio at the same time, but just to avoid that copyright claim of them stopping you in the middle of it, because sometimes they'll just pull it in the middle of your live.
Yeah, I got my eye on the live. When I do stuff like this, I keep the live up just to make sure.
Yeah,
make sure. But you're saying I'm not wrong in what I'm saying. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Not at all, man. And just go back to that conversation we had the other night. Like I was saying, man, it's a lot of brothers that are not gonna hold a lot of these women nowadays accountable, because by default they would be holding their mama accountable. And like you said, how black folks don't talk about my mama. So low key, they'll be thinking, they kind of taking shots at their mom. And like you talked about your personal experience with your grandmother, but that's still your mama though.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not wrong, man. I've seen it several times over, especially with the son husband thing. I got cats in my family pushing 30 or over 30, and mama's still hand holding them through life, and they think it's cute, they think it's funny, and they can't maintain a relationship because they think their mama always in their business. But it's like an Oedipus complex. You think, the same thing for baby boy. You think your mama is your woman.
Yes.
A lot of times we see brothers like that.
And here's the thing. This is and our women are out here griping about this shit, and they're not wrong to gripe about it, but then you're producing it.
Exactly.
You're producing, and the thing that pisses me off is the women in our age bracket, Kofa, the women in our age bracket, they grew up in the homes with us. They saw this shit firsthand, and they walk around here pretending like they didn't. They don't understand, huh?
You know why?
Go ahead.
The other underlying thing we don't like to talk about in the black community, that dynamic between mother and daughter. A lot of these women don't like their mama. A lot of these mamas don't like their daughter. I've seen it where mama damn near on her deathbed. I've seen it where they come out of it later on in life, but that dynamic is the exact reason why so many of these women complaining, because they watch their mama. Like, I got a homegirl, she used to cry to me all the time. Her brother was just sorry as hell, just a sorry man, just the definition of the son husband. He got 4 and 5 kids by multiple women, and the mama always had his kids over there. But when it came down to her needing help with her one, mama, she was never available to babysit, never helped out, financially, but always had the son's kids over there, bailed him out of jail more times than care to count. So a lot of these women walk out into the world with that memory of home in her head, and that's how she look at a lot of men out there, like they moving like they brothers a lot of times. But that's one of those dynamics we really don't talk about either. is that disdain that a lot of Black women have for their daughters and vice versa.
Yeah. And this is where I talk about, I try to talk to ladies and say, when I bring it up, I say, stop pretending like you don't understand how the men around here got the way they got. Some of them got the way they got when your brother is like that. You know what? Why are you getting? And they'll defend what happened. They get offended by it because you're pointing it out. But this stuff gotta be, exiled from us. This is garbage.
A generation after generation, I don't see it slowing up anytime soon.
This stuff ain't slowing down. That's why I keep saying we're terminal.
Man, you use the word then, bro. Terminal. That's where we at. On that last leg, somebody just either praying for a miracle or somebody gonna have to make a decision and pull the plug.
We're praying for a miracle. That's what we're. You know what? To a degree, brother, us out here having these conversations and stuff like that. This is us praying for a miracle. We're out here like screaming into a cab, into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
with damn near with nobody around to listen.
It is, and we see it, like you said, we see it. I'm watching you. We see it happening, and pretend otherwise. And it's not just the women, unfortunately. Like we spoke about the other night, man. It's so many brothers that they are not gonna break that mold because they're in their comfort zone. They're being taken care of. God, like the conscious community, the Black woman is God. What's the saying about God? Who does God take care of? Babies and fools. So you got grown ass men acting like babies, some damn fools. But who gets taken care of? Solid brother, you normally get overlooked. So we're gonna go that premise with the conscious community, and Black women are so great, they walk on water. God takes care of.
They walk on water, but yet they have participated fully in getting us here. And I know, and I've said it over and over and over throughout this stream. I said, our ladies don't like the fact that they're getting blamed for anything, but this is your responsibility. Men are held accountable for the things that are our responsibility. Who our women decide to make fathers is their responsibility. If they don't want their responsibility, then don't have any damn kids.
They're not gonna do that because they haven't said, man, let's just call it what it is, bro. Like you said, call a thing, man. They fucking. I again, bro. My daughter keep laughing at me. I'm turning into my pops. I've been watching 2 weeks straight of paternity court. And when I say it's folks in their 40s, 50s, still going raw, producing children, and the fact you got to go into paternity court because this grown ass woman that's 52 don't know who her child's father is, and there's 4 potential men, like that's a problem. That is a problem. We're not even talking about young folks. We talk about people that are seasoned in life.
That's a good way of putting it. But then our women, as the title, they walk around here and acting offended because they want us to treat them like they're virtuous, and they're not
at all.
And the men need to understand. I keep talking about we need to come to terms with, it is when you think about the fact that most of us are in this world because we weren't planned. So
that's wild, man. And to take it even further with the point you just made about how men are held accountable for the stuff that we're supposed to do. A lot of times we held accountable for stuff that's not even in our control. It has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
We held accountable for stuff for that other dude. And just got a better.
I ain't doing that, man. I made that decision years ago. I look, if you got problems, if you ain't making me pay for nothing that somebody else that you allow somebody else to do to you. If that's where you at, man, you can kick rocks.
And brothers got to stand on that, man. We got to stand on all the shaming language and stuff like that. And that's the thing. We can get shamed and brothers will react to it, do something that's detrimental to himself. And then the immediate Black response is, that's on him. He grown. Ain't nobody make him do that. So on and so forth. It's just continuous, man. And it's sad at this point. And I hate Salute, DG. I just hate even having to have this conversation out loud. Now, while we're mostly in these spaces talking to and with Black folks, we know it's a mixed group that we're talking to, because white folks is listening. We can sit up here and pretend like they're not. America's listening. The globe is listening.
Copa, them folk, they already know. They see.
And the other part is, bro, they doing it too. But focusing on Black folks is that saying that Dr. Claude Anderson said, when white folks catch a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia.
Yeah, they're doing it. Listen, here's what's funny. I was looking at the white folk out of birth wedlock rate. Their out of wedlock birth rate is at 30%. That's where ours was in 1960.
It's going to keep growing because this is a very Western and American problem.
Yep, but let me tell you something though. And I said I was on This Can Be Risky's podcast this morning, and I said this. I said, listen, I brought up that stat. I said, if this crap in white culture get over 35%, it will go no further. They don't play that crap over there. They're letting stuff go, and because it's not the majority, you know what I mean? They can still, triage and blanket and parcel, their bad away. But when this stuff start creeping into into making it a cultural change, them white folk, man, look, let me tell you something. If they can storm the doggone Capitol for some nonsense, you think they're gonna let they white women turn into Black women?
Into Pukishas? No. That was the whole purpose of the Roe versus Wade, that being overturned. That was their knee-jerk reaction to, oh, we have an issue.
Yep.
It ain't even about us.
Yep. They're like, nah. And I'm telling you, before it's all said and done with, and I believe it's gonna happen in our lifetime, Copa, because is it Florida? Florida has gotten rid of alimony.
Yeah, lifetime alimony.
Yep, and Tennessee is making DNA testing mandatory at birth.
Yeah, so that bill was on the floor. It's one thing they did. It was a two-part bill. One part got passed. I don't think it was the part about the mandatory testing. One of those parts didn't get passed. It was like a two-parter dealing with paternity. But I got to go back and look at that too, because I was going to do a video on it, but I didn't because it didn't get passed. It looked like it was going to pass. I know when those couple of clips had started going around, but it was like a two-parter, and one got passed and one didn't.
Let me tell you something. They're gonna abolish the child support system. They're gonna get rid of it, and they're gonna get rid of Section 8 housing.
I can see that. I can see the Section 8. The child support.
I think that's the only thing that's going to save us.
Why do you think they're going to abolish the child support?
Because the child support system wasn't intended for single mothers. It was intended for married women. It was intended for married women whose husbands absconded.
Okay.
After World War II, you had a bunch of men come back home, especially the affluent men, and they brought home, overseas wives and left these white women destitute. No, the child support system was never intended for women who wanted to have children without marriage. I keep telling people, once upon a time in this country, there was no such thing as child support.
And that's facts. The other crazy part, back then during that time, that's when the shifts really started to happen. Back then, if there was a divorce or a child out of wedlock, the child went with the father, because who was working back then? Women weren't really working back then. But World War II kicked off. The men were overseas. That big draft. So who had to go work in the factories?
The women had to go work in the factories. The women had to go. Yep.
And that's when it changed. So when the men came back and some of them couldn't get jobs, or, back then they didn't call it PTSD. They were shell shocked or whatever and really couldn't function back in regular society. Who was getting those jobs? It wasn't in the 60s when a lot of these conversations really started happening, the Moynihan Report, things of that nature. It was really in the 40s. The child used to go with the father on a regular basis, and then that shift happened during the war. Now the women are able to work because they proved they were able to work while we were gone, while the men were at war.
And build, and the women were in a lot of these, these like Ford and GM, they were actually building tanks and airplanes.
They were the ones doing the bombs, all that stuff in the factory. So America saw that. Maybe it's a two-part system. We can get two incomes. I think that experiment of single womanhood, single motherhood, I think it got out of hand and they weren't ready for it. And this is why, like, I see your point with the child support system. The only pushback I would give on the child support system, the states make so much money off of it. So I don't know if they'll abolish it, adjust it, but abolishing, I don't see in our lifetime because they still making bank. Like, these conversations are just, we got to remember, we're at the precipice. We're at the tip of this. These are just conversations right now. And it's slowly starting to, Florida, Tennessee, starting to be looked at from a political or legal aspect.
My home state, which is Wisconsin, and I know what guys, those are listening, we're a little bit off topic, but it's okay. My home state back in 2000, so we're talking 20 years ago, they were the first state to grant automatic joint custody to the fathers at the point of paternity establishment. Like, the men don't have to go to court for that. They get it automatically.
Wow.
The moment, that happened back in 2000. We're the first state to really do that. But a lot of states are now, in the last couple of years, are picking up that mantra because there's so many. One, they were trying to clear out the court systems because there are so many fights for guys trying to get custody. But in the state of Wisconsin, custody doesn't mean like physical with the child. It actually it means decision making.
Yeah, doctors, schools.
Yeah,
things like that. Things in the best interest of the child.
All that stuff, decision making, and they call what we talk about visitation. They call it placement in Wisconsin.
Okay.
You got primary physical placement, which is where the kid lives, and then you just got placement, which is really visitation. Wisconsin has something that a lot of other states don't have. They actually got a thing called visitation, but it's for the grandparents.
Wow.
In the state of Wisconsin, grandparents can actually file and get a visitation order.
Wow, that's crazy. But it's almost necessary. Think about how many, and this is the other thing, kind of bringing it back to the topic. A lot of these women don't realize the stuff that they're saying about the men they're dating until their sons become of age and become fathers, and he realizes how little his rights as a father means.
Right, because now they're dealing with the court system from his perspective, and now they're the thing that they put his father through. Now their son is going through
it. She ain't seen her grandbaby in 6 months because that girl don't feel like it.
Yep. Well, yeah, it was in Wisconsin. See, a lot of times, what a lot of the grandparents were doing, they were getting the visitation rights because their son couldn't get them or couldn't get the kid, so the grandparents would go get the damn visitation rights so their son could see their child.
Loopholes.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and I'm gonna hop off, but to your point earlier, it's so much of this stuff, whether it's the excuse me, the incarceration rate, the violence going on, all that is when they're crunching these numbers, doing the facts, data, statistic, and it's coming back to how many of these young men and children, period, young girls out there wilding out too, but just focusing on the young men. When these young men are getting in all this trouble and all these different things, behind in reading, not reading on grade level, all that stuff, it boils down to single mother homes. So I tell people all the time, and they get mad at me, but it wouldn't be COVID if nobody was mad at me.
Right.
They a lot of the stuff that's going on in the Black community can simply be boiled down to who our women get wet for. What type of man? He wasn't going to be no father, but he was fun. So you produce the child, everything is okay because my baby going to be straight regardless. Then that boy eventually becomes a man.
your baby ain't straight. And let me tell you, and here's what I want to say about that. I've never heard a black woman talk about. Let me just say, I've never heard a woman ever describe herself other than being I'm a good mother. How do you fix your mouth to call you a good mother when the first decision you made as a mother was to not saddle your son with an appropriate father? That does not.
Don't compute. The math ain't mathing.
I mean, you're a good mama, but you selected the guy that got 4 kids by 4 other women, and he's barely working and he's barely in those kids' lives, but you got him living in your house and you gave him a kid, but yet you are a good mama. What makes you such a great mother?
Just the fact that the kids are breathing.
My kid's gonna be straight? What the hell does that even mean?
Yeah.
As we're seeing these 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds, your children are not straight.
Not at all.
Not even a little bit.
But that, again, it's another Kofiism. 2 things matter in the black community: white Jesus and black mothers. And that's just how I see it. If her baby making organs work correctly, that's all she pretty much got to do. And I tell women all the time, I'm like, a lot of y'all, let's keep it a buck. They glorify babysitters. They mamas raising these babies. They might go over there with their mama because, you know, she working 2 or 3 jobs. She doing the best she can. But let a father get 2 or 3 jobs, then it's, oh, he ain't spending enough time with his family.
Mm-hmm.
So and a lot of times
some states, I hold that against the father. He got to work 16 hours a day to, provide, and then he can't spend as much time, and they will hold that against him as far as his parental, the time that he gets awarded. They'll hold that against him.
Yep. Well, how can you be a father? Why are you fighting for rights and you don't have enough time to spend with your child? I've seen it. I've seen it. That's their argument. That's their pushback. But again, whether mama working 2 or 3 jobs, making ends meet, whatnot, salute to them sisters out there putting in the work, but still come down to who you slept with. So whether she's doing that or she's still running in the streets, them kids over there with her mama or another family member.
And most of the time they're running the damn streets.
Yep. That was it. They glorify babysitters. A lot of them.
And goes back to my point. Our black mothers are not virtuous. You know, most of our black men need to come to terms with that. We can't even deal with our own shit because we won't deal with the fact that our mamas are that. You know how to. They don't understand how much that affects a man when your mama is out there bad.
And you've been seeing it since, let's say, middle school.
Let me tell you something. My mama's terrible. She's terrible.
When the other boys can't wait till your mama come pick you up at school because they know she's gonna be half dressed.
Yeah.
And now think about it, man. These chicks got OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And they promoting their OnlyFans.
And these kids are looking up their friends' mama's OnlyFans account.
IG. It's another brother that I rock with here on YouTube, Drew, Painful Excellence Podcast. Check him out. Solid brother out of New York. But he was doing a review of exactly what we talking about. Brought up this chick's OnlyFans page. This day, I think I mentioned it the other night. Brought up her IG, promoting her OnlyFans. Boom, in the middle of her IG is a picture of her son. Son's face ain't blurred out. And you know, IG is free. Page not private because she's trying to promote. So imagine being that kid going to school in 6th, 7th grade. You know how boys are, man. I say, man, your mama fine.
Right. Your mama
I seen your mama did. She don't got a tattoo on. Man, please.
Man, your mama cat fat, boy. I saw that.
And then let one of their dads or uncles be done messed around with mama because she loose like that. Like we got some serious issues to fix, bro. I don't even know where to start. A lot of people be like, well, what's the solution? I don't know what the solution is. We cannot lead as black men if we don't have followers. We can do the action of leadership. We can walk in that on a regular basis, but collectively in general, most of our women aren't going to follow because they live by that premise. Ain't no man going to tell me what to do.
Yeah, I'm quiet because it's just like there's nothing but that's an absolute factual statement. And then the number of women that might be willing to get on the program is so low. There's not enough women to go around.
It's not. And that's that goes to our numbers.
Look, which is funny because they constantly talk about the lack of quality, capable quality men out here, which is the complete and utter. That's the complete utter opposite. The number of quality capable ladies for the eligible 54% of black men, that is now that number.
Yep. It's so low.
It's so low.
So this is how messed up we are, TJ. When our women talk about good black men, what do they say? All the good black men are dead or in jail.
How in the hell is he a good black man in jail?
That's the bingo. Hotter than fish grease.
I wish I had that over here. Well, no. I got something better. Here we go. Yep.
Bang! Bang! It's good.
Yep.
Yep.
It's so sad. But think about that. That's their knee-jerk reaction statement. All the good black men are dead or in jail. How many white of you?
Mm-hmm. Kofa, it's 11. I'm going to end this. I can always pick this up later. I really want to get into the Kirk Franklin stuff, but I'm going to actually go because I want to get into it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to figure out a way to do it a little bit better. But this is a good way to end. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and because it's almost midnight where I'm at, probably 1 o'clock where most other people.
It's 12:38 over here.
Georgia. I know we've been in the bed. You know, I'm old now.
Don't claim it, man. Don't claim it.
Yeah.
You're just seasoned. That's
just seasoned. Yep. I gotta go get to bed and bake.
For real.
Because I got another. I've been off for 6 or 7 days. I go back to work tomorrow. I'm so mad. I don't know what to do with myself.
Man, that be that long break. Like, damn, I do still got a job, don't I? Shit.
Yeah. And it's a long break, but it don't feel like a long break because it's like you can still remember. I just got off work.
You just clocked out.
Spent 3 days recovering from the mess. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, Kof. I'm gonna go ahead and give my ending, and I'm gonna get on up out of here.
All right, for sure, bro. I appreciate you having me on.
Come on up. Yep. Oh my goodness. These conversations are always very difficult to have, you know. They're difficult to have because I would like to see some improvement in the area. I start off by saying to our ladies, you know, listen, you truly don't understand how powerful you are. You don't understand how much responsibility you actually have in the development of anybody's culture. White woman, Asian woman, Hispanic woman, Indian woman, it don't matter. Your culture goes on based on who you select to reproduce with. And unfortunately for us blacks, our ladies have decided the worst of us are actually the best of us, and the best of us ain't worth a damn. But our women want to be treated as virtuous. I really don't know what to say about that anymore, you know? I think the natural instinct of our ladies is to view themselves that way. It's an internal thing. And I do understand the need to want to stick your head in the sand about the actual decisions that you made and the actual outcomes that those decisions have produced. I understand that. I understand to not want to deal with the mess. You know, come on now, we've all messed up a room or or after a big dinner and everything, the kitchen's a disaster, and you just wish you can just close the door and pretend it's not there. We can't do that anymore with us. Because it's glaring. We're out here. We are alone. We are a laughing stock. We are an embarrassment. Don't nobody want to be around us, even the best of us. We don't even want to be around each other. You know, dear Black women, whether you like it or not, you are responsible for who has the ability to reproduce. You get to select the fathers, and you haven't done a good job at that. That's the L, unfortunately, that you have to own. No matter how much you fight against that, you own that L. Can't no dude become a father without your permission. And y'all got every reason in the book not to select a better qualified dude. And you eliminate qualified men for the stupidest reasons. They're just stupid. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of speechless tonight, which is rare for myself, but I am. I'm kind of speechless on this. So on this topic, we're actually going to get back to the Kurt Franklin thing because I don't want to hold anybody anymore. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate you, and we're out.
I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing.